the sun is going down. It's about, I think it's 7. Yeah, it's 6:51. So I got like probably an hour and a half of daylight. I brought out seeds with me. This is winter squash, this is pumpkin. I also have some random, have summer squash, zinnia, and basil. I wanted to start this video right here in the shade because this is my in-ground bed, and if you watched that video, we planted all different types of beans in here. At the beginning were my yellow beans, and then I went to some red ones, and I think just a regular green one. But as I was walking by, it stopped me in my tracks because I saw all of these green popping up. So I have lots of the green beans popping up, which is really, really exciting because I didn't actually plant any yellow bush beans at the beginning of the season. I've only planted, well, I tried to only plant green because I was looking for to harvest enough. But now that we've harvested enough, I decided to plant some yellow ones and some other ones just to fill out the space too. And I probably, like I said in that video, will leave most of these for drying. So obviously the first thing that I'm gonna do is pull out all of these plants. I actually need gloves. Okay, so what we have left in this bed is about 3 celeries, 2 eggplants, about 3 zinnia plants, and 2 or 3 summer sunflowers, as well as 2 cantaloupes at the end. And then what I have to replace it is basil, zinnia, as well as some different types of squash. So I have cocozelle, the cue ball, the tantum, green scallop bennings, early prolific squash, and then the raven zucchini summer squash. I'm probably going to plant maybe 2 of each plant. That's only 12 squashes. And then in the middle, mixing it in, I'm going to sprinkle basil seeds and zinnia seeds, so that way interplanted, and so that way I can get all of these holes planted in. I do have one cabbage here that's ready to that I'm not ready to harvest, but it is headed up and probably harvested right now, but that's not what I'm focused on because I do want to get all of these seeds that I brought out planted. This is the pile, and I'm going to call my son out here to go bring these over. I'm not composting these. I'm going to bring it over. It does have some small fruits on it, but also lots of nymphs and bugs. Bring it over to the pigs or the goats. Since I already have smaller holes burned in, which is where, oops, my celery has been planted. This is my first year growing celery successfully. So that's really exciting. But what I'm going to do is, that's where I'm going to plant all of my basil. So I'll have a long row of basil going down where the rest of these holes, because I only have, I think, 3 zinnias in these small holes. So I'm going to plant the rest with basil. And then on the row behind it, I think I'm going to plant zinnias, which just leaves me with the 2 rows on opposite ends, and I think that's where I'm going to plant my squashes going down the bed. One of the things that I've been trying to keep up with this garden season is making sure that none of my beds are empty. When they're empty, they just is a breeding ground for more weeds, and I've been trying to keep my weeds under control. I actually do not have enough. I just realized I don't have enough of this Genovese basil seeds that I brought out with me. So I'm just gonna plant what I have. Or maybe I do. We'll see if I have enough to get down the road. Okay, that completed that whole pack of Genovese basil. I am gonna have to turn the drip line on for this bed. I had turned it off, and I had turned because it's supposed to be, well, actually I'll look at the weather. It's supposed to be raining for like 7 days in a row. I had it like a thunderbolt because my daughter's birthday, one of my daughter's birthdays next week. And when we were looking at the forecast, it actually had rain or a thunderbolt for like 7 days in a row. So we'll see. But if it doesn't start raining soon, I am gonna turn the drip on for this bed. I had turned off the drip for the whole garden and only left it on for the hoop house. This is a new pack of zinnia seeds that a friend got me because I've been struggling with zinnia germination this year. So I'm only gonna plant 2 in each hole. I was trying to see if I had any name tag that I could reuse, and I do have one for the cue ball and the Coco Zell. I'm going to, the holes that I have here are 9 inches apart because they were where I planted brassicas, and so I planted them 9 inches apart. I'm planting 2 seeds in each hole, and then I'm going to skip the next hole, and so I'm going to plant these probably 18 inches apart, and then I'll think of something else to go in the remaining holes. And then the seeds that I don't have, or the ones that I don't have name tags for, I'll just tell it on camera so that I have identification. So that first one was, actually I put that wrong. That was Raven zucchini. I'm gonna sit that there so I don't forget. So glad I looked at that. Okay, this is the eggplant here. So if I skip one, the eggplant is here, and actually there's a baby zinnia plant in the second one, then an eggplant. So I'm gonna go down to this is the 4th one actually. And this is where I'll plant the cue ball. At this point in the season, I'm gonna plant again 2 seeds per hole. At this point in the season, like I was saying, it's all just an experiment and just taking out the disease, taking out the stuff that have died, and then making sure I'm cycling through, and I'm trying to get into the habit of doing that even if I don't want to. I didn't have this seed out with me, but I ran inside to go get it. It's the Black Russian sunflower because I still have some holes, and I don't want to have any holes in this bed. I want to make it as full as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and plant 2 sunflowers in each of the remaining holes. Something interesting I noticed as I was planting these seeds is that the front of the bed is more moist, the soil is, than the back of the bed. The back of the bed, I guess because I didn't really have anything planted there, and these still had like roots, so the roots was like holding on to moisture, and the back really wasn't because I didn't really have anything there. I'm not really sure, but the back of the bed is definitely more dry, the soil is, than the front of the bed. The front of the bed soil is still pretty moist, so that's going to help in germination. I'm going to collect all my seed packets. This bed's done. Collect all my name tags, and I'm going to sit them on the brick so that we can move on to the next bed. These pumpkins may be a little bit harder to recognize because the plants are so long, and there's probably even pumpkins on some of the vines that, yeah, like I think this pumpkin right here, I can see that. There's probably a pumpkin on it, but this just looks so diseased and dying. I don't really know what to do, because there's actually a really big pumpkin there. I'm wondering if there's actually two vines here. One's a long one and one's the short one. And I'm wondering if I should just take out this one. It actually had bugs in there right there when I snapped it. Take out the one. Leave the one that seems to have a big pumpkin on it. And see if I could get it to ripen, but then also plant another seed. I don't really know. Let me see if I can find, I planted two of these. It's a blue Bayou pumpkin. I'm gonna see if I can figure out which pumpkin this belongs to, and then the one that it doesn't belong to, that doesn't have a fruit, then I'll pull that one out. So it actually looks like the pumpkin that's big and settled and already over there is coming from the one over there. So I'm gonna pull this one and then replant here. And hopefully I'm right. I would hate to pull out a pumpkin that is almost ready. But then again, it is diseased and looks really, really bad. Well, that's sad. I literally just popped this off when I was trying to move the vine. So maybe we can get it to ripen off the vine. I think it would be cool. This one fell off as well. As well as all of these white ones, but this plant had died. Do you guys know if that's the, what is it called? The vine borer? I actually forget what those look like. But these were the baby white pumpkins that you can see the plant died. I have to say, this lavender bee right here smells amazing. That's all I smell right now, because the pumpkins were mixed up in between here. Those pumpkins are actually turning orange wherever they're coming from. Y'all, these are so cute. They actually look like decoration, which is kind of why I grew them, because they were so tiny and cute. And I used white fake pumpkin this past fall to have a party, a women's brunch. And so I'm gonna actually plant, there's one, I think that was 4 different plants, but only 2 varieties. I'm gonna just replant them, and hopefully the second time around I get the horn, or the squash vine borer does not get them. Ooh. We still have about 150 days to our first frost, I believe, or is it 180? Either way, this blue pumpkin takes 110 days, so I definitely have enough days to plant this again. And if this works out, I actually may plant my pumpkins and my winter squash later next year. This white pumpkin was actually the baby boo. So I'm going to replant this again. And I'm just going to go through and see if I have 2 of every other kind. And if I don't, I'm just going to plant seeds. I'm not going to pull any more vines, because most of the dead stuff was on this side. Everything over there looks pretty good, and I'm really, really sad that I pulled that one blue pumpkin. And so I don't want to damage anymore, so I'm going to leave the rest of them. Okay, I am sweating so much. Last bed. This is the winter squash bed. And I'm going to go through, see if I see any like absolutely dead vines. Or I know down at the end there was some, like one spot that I planted a jumbo banana squash that didn't germinate. And I think I'm actually going to change that and plant maybe Maybe I'll do, well, I have lots of these seeds. Maybe I will plant it again. It's probably because it's from 2020 and I've never grown this before. Maybe I'll just plant all of these seeds, and then if I get any to germinate, because I know that's my second time planting those banana winter squashes, and I planted 2 each time, so it could be the seeds. So I'm just going to actually use all the seeds, plant them into 2 spots, and then if I get any to grow, I can save seeds from those. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I know that there weren't any acorn squash, and these are old seeds. Thank you. And I just planted, and I know I planted these acorn squash and I didn't see any growing, so I'm gonna plant these as well. Okay, I'm at the last place where I possibly could have winter squash, and these are small winter squashes that are small enough to grow on this trellis. And I'm gonna replant both of these because I see that this one has died. This was the Burgess Buttercup, which looks like this, and the Sweet Dumpling, which I don't even know if I have any more seeds of that because it has a star on it, which means that that was either the last seeds I planted and I was supposed to save seeds. So I might not even have that one. And if not, we'll just plant more of this one. But I'm going to remove these weeds so that they have airflow. This is stuff that I actually hate doing. Reseeding. I want the garden to be planted once and then don't have to do anything to it, and it just looks pretty the whole season. But you can't, you have to maintain it. And this year I'm really been staying on top of trying to maintain what I planted and on top of pests and diseases, and trying to get those out as soon as possible. So technically this butterscotch is still alive and it even has a little plant on it, but it's been here for a while. It shouldn't be this small. So I'm going to replant 4 seeds, 2 at the beginning of the trellis and then 2 kind of where it's at, and get those replanted. This next one is the one that I showed you, the Burgess Buttercup, and again, I'm going to plant 4 seeds. And I'll thin. This other side of the trellis, I have the honey boat planted, the delicata, and a black futsu. And they all 3 are doing well and they all have fruit on them. So I'm going to plant them again on this trellis. This trellis is where I've been trying to grow cucuzi, and they have not germinated, so I'm just going to use that space and plant some more of these because they're doing well and they seem to like it. Y'all, the most exciting thing happened. I was cleaning up all of these weeds to try and plant again, and I see that we have a baby cucuzi plant popping up, and literally I put like, I don't know, I replanted this like 4 times and it was probably this small just because of all of the weeds, but now that I've cleared all the weeds, it's here. So instead I'm just going to plant 1 squash on either side and leave that cucuzi, and hopefully now that all the weeds are gone, it can give it a chance to grow. And I'll definitely be more active about saving seeds from it, and hopefully I can baby it and it can actually produce something. That was like such a big happy surprise. Y'all have no idea how excited I am that I not only got rid of all of the summer squash, I reseeded it. I reseeded the pumpkins, I reseeded winter squash, and I even weeded and reseeded these winter squash and found a cucuzi plant. I feel like it's the happiest night of my life right now. I'm so happy. I'm telling you, just getting out here and doing stuff like this is really, really hard when I know there's so much to do and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. But just getting out here and starting and bringing you guys with me is such motivation. So I hope that you guys are motivated to get out in your garden and get stuff done. It was 90 degrees when I came out here, even though the sun was setting, so that's why I look this way. That is why I am drenched in sweat. But I'm really, really happy. I hope you guys are having an awesome garden year and you're growing stuff that make you happy as well. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.